The Nigerian government on May 10, 2023 approved for the implementation the first ever Nigeria investment policy with the aim of giving investors more comfort and attracting more investments into the economy. With technical support from UNCTAD, the focus of the investment policy is investment promotion, investment facilitation, and sustainable development. It also promotes responsible investor conduct for sustainable development and influencing investor behavior in compliance with globally acceptable standards relating to the environment, human rights, health, labor, safety, corporate social responsibility, and anti-corruption. However, we have witnessed the exit in full or in part of major players out of the country and have thrown a number of Nigerians into the jobs market. These are the issues before us on this edition. My name is Leah Katung-Babatunde, your host, and this is The Policy with Leah. We'll be right back. We begin the business of the day as usual from the trends table.
President Bola Tinubu has attributed the high food prices in the country to the loss of 60 to 70% of food produced to external damages such as bad roads, banditry, and terrorism. A statement by the president's spokesperson Ajuri Ngalali conveying the president's message during his meeting with the delegation of the National Assembly in Lagos emphasized that even if farmers grow, Nigerians will have to pay more due to road infrastructure and other external factors. The statement added that the government must eliminate banditry and terrorism to allow farmers to return and cultivate their farmlands, while citizens, on the other hand, need to eliminate all economic sabotage and change their mindset to foster growth and development. President Tinubu stressed that vandalism of rail tracks and electric cables, among other things, sabotage the economy and suppress growth. The World Health Organization, WHO, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, and the International Organization for Migration, IOM, have held an emergency meeting over the cholera outbreak in Lagos State. WHO country representative Walter Mulombo shared details of the meeting via his X account and disclosed that the three agencies are discussing a joint United Nations support. Akin Abayomi, Lagos State Commissioner for Health, has confirmed the strain to be cholera subtype 01 and is associated with more severe diseases. UNICEF, through its Lagos Field Office Chief, Celine Lofrucris, had made a case for extensive measures to protect school children returning from the summer break against the cholera outbreak to prevent disruption in the academic calendar over the spread of the disease. The federal government has announced $3.5 billion agreement with the Afrexim Bank that will ultimately enhance the textile industry and promote the use of compressed natural gas (CNG) vehicles, among other initiatives. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Doris Ozoka-Anite, who made the disclosure, said the deal was signed during the 31st Afrexim Bank annual meeting in Nassau, the Bahamas. The landmark agreement covers $3 billion industrialization financing facility, statewide investment vehicles and projects, global country guarantee, revamping the textile and apparel industry, as well as developing the CNG value chain. Nigeria is currently ranked 88 out of 141 countries in the World Bank Logistic Performance Index (LPI), indicating a 3-steps improvement in the global logistics ranking of 91st in 2022. The report released by the World Bank emphasizes the critical role that reliability and resilience play in the effectiveness of logistics. The World Bank LPI is also used to assess the efficiency and effectiveness of a country's logistics service industry. The index evaluates various dimensions of logistic performance, including infrastructure, customs and border management, ease of arranging shipments, quality of logistics services, tracking and tracing of consignments, and timeliness of deliveries. The index is an interactive benchmarking tool created to help countries identify the challenges and opportunities they face in trade logistics and work how to improve their performance. A British man is suing Apple for over £5 million after his messages to sex workers, which he thought were deleted, showed up on the family iMac, leading to divorce proceedings after his wife saw them. The middle-aged man, known only as Richard, claims that Apple failed to adequately inform users that deleted messages could still be accessible on other linked devices, reports The Times, a British national daily. Richard told The Times that he had resorted to contacting sex workers through the iMessages app on his iPhone, believing the messages were completely erased after deletion when they had all been synced and stored on the family iMac all along, leading his wife of 20 years to discover them. He is seeking compensation in the £5 million lawsuit for the financial losses incurred from the divorce and legal fees.
We examine Nigeria's investment policy, how each has fared in the context of recent developments. I had this conversation with Ogbonna Ukuku, an investment promotion expert. The investment climate in Nigeria has continued to play a pivotal role in the overall well-being and development of the country. Latest figures from the National Bureau of Statistics puts inflation numbers at a 28-year high, and this is coming at a time where multinational companies are also exceeding the scene, and it leaves one to wonder if the country is limited in her capabilities of putting the environment in order, number one, for jobs and its affiliates to make meaningful impact in the nation. What I have joining me, Mr. Ogbonna Ukuku, he is an investment expert to speak to the issues around Nigeria's investment climate and the exit of multinational companies. It's nice to have you on the program.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
I would start by asking you that while Nigeria has been all over the globe seeking investors to coming into the country, we're witnessing something that hasn't happened in a long while, that major companies are either leaving halfway or fully to other climes. Is this peculiar to Nigeria?
No, it's not peculiar to Nigeria, but it's significant in Nigeria because we don't have a lot of such companies. So when anyone moves, it makes a lot of news. Now, the actual issue here is we are busy going out to look for investors. And then we have not asked ourselves, are there things we need to do for investors to want to come to your environment? Investors are like water, they move to areas of least resistance. There's so many countries in the world looking for the same investor that you're looking for. Look at different sectors in Nigeria. You ask yourself, let me even take power, for example. The most important for me sector in Nigeria, you ask, why are investors not coming into power? Because there are encumbrances in the power sector that somebody with his money will not want to come into power. I give a very simple example. You need an NERC license, you need a TCN license, you need an EIA done, you need to discuss with the NMPC to give you gas if it's a gas powered power generation that you're going to be doing. You need to talk to NBET, you need to talk to a state governor to get the land. So all these things, all these things might take you like 2-3 years to get them all together before you can generate power in Nigeria. Are we really talking about the customs that you're going to be dealing with when you're importing some of the items that you're going to use to generate this power? Or are we talking about the issues that you face dealing with people in Nigeria? So in as much as we want to go out there, we need to do more of investor support. We need to provide investor support services. Most investors who are already in Nigeria are facing issues of raw material supply strategy, which means that unless they have the raw material localized, unless they do a backward integration, when the local manufacturers are not supporting the bigger ones, or the farmers are not supporting the smaller ones. See, it's a chain, so it becomes a problem. So all these things, put together, will actually tell you that there's a lot of work we need to do. So it's beyond just one, everybody going up and down looking for investors. We need to also, that's another issue we need to talk about. We need to have a concerted effort. So there has to be someone talking about investment. Yes, there has to be a unified structure of, wooing investors, so that it's not everybody who goes, everybody wants to go and talk. You might say the wrong thing. You see, investment promotion is not an all-comers affair. It's just like anybody who thinks you can build. You can't build because it's laying blocks. There are architects, there are people who are experts in this field. So I think this job should be left for experts to do. And when experts are in the job, they know what to say. An investor has a mindset. And until you understand that an investor has a mindset, so you need to be able to see things from an investor's prism. It makes it easier for you to now prepare ground, prepare the words, prepare the right presentation to actually share with an investor.
When you say investor support, what does that mean?
Investor support is, you see, I used a very simple illustration for you. Okay, let me say, for a company like a company like IDL in Ogun State that is making liquor in Ogun State needs about 30 million liters of ethanol to be able to run their factory. So as we speak, with the high cost of FX, it becomes difficult for them because they are not getting ethanol from Nigeria. Ethanol comes from either cassava or sugarcane. But we have all those being grown here. We don't grow them at that level. For you to be able to produce a million liter or so of ethanol, you need to cultivate about 1,500 hectare of cassava farm, and at an average yield of 28 tons per hectare. So you see, now if you look at the whole Nigeria, I can tell you there's no functional cassava farm in Nigeria. There's up to 10,000 hectares in the whole of Nigeria. Move from Lagos upward to Zamfara, you won't find. I can tell you that for free. So that means every single person that is using ethanol to produce either liquor, or those who are making beer, or those making or beverages, every ethanol is being imported from either Brazil, China, or other parts of the world. So you see, now, if the system is not providing enough support, that called raw material support, it becomes difficult because the factory has to run. Customers are waiting for these goods. So that means they have to depend on import. So if they are dependent on import and FX is busy going up, it becomes too difficult because everything they're trying to push it back to the customers, because the customers, how many people have that level of disposable income with all we're talking about in Nigeria? So it makes it a bit, so it comes back to us being productive because everybody offloads to the next person. So the farmer offloads to the processor, and the processor gives to the factory, and then the factory gives to consumer. So that's how it works. So if that chain is not complete, now manufacturers depend on import, and which becomes a problem.
Okay, I'm looking at the push and pull factors here. Which would you say is more critical for us at this time?
Both political, both economic. So the economy is pushing, the policies are pushing, the way we do things everything is just pushing, trying to strangulate every business that is here. So it makes it a bit more, it makes it difficult for you to function here. So which is where I think the real problem is. Now, if you have an investor's mindset, you will know that an investor, outside what you're telling an investor when you're out there preaching to an investor, the investor will do an independent check. So if I did a business plan on cassava production of cassava flour, or even production of candy in Nigeria, I know that there is no single factory in Nigeria where they produce glucose syrup in the entire nation. So that means I'm going to depend on importation into Nigeria. So I have to deal with customs, I have to deal with FX issues, I have to deal with shipping, I have to deal with insurance of shipping. So I need to do, so there's so much I'm going to be dealing with just because I want to make a candy in Nigeria. Yes, we have a large population that will buy my candy. So, but I need to also deal with the issues of being able to bring in the candy or produce the candy so that everybody will have it. As it's as small as Panadol. Panadol is assembled in Nigeria, it's not made in Nigeria because the API, the active pharmaceutical ingredient that is used to produce a single tablet of Panadol is imported. So you see the realization of our being not being productive is a problem. So the smallholder farmer needs to be encouraged, pushed, incentivized to be able to produce. So it has to be targeted at producing what a factory can actually accommodate.
We've agreed over time that the extractive industry, particularly petroleum and other minerals, is enough to jumpstart other sectors and make them viable. But looking over time, it will seem like these sectors are actually not heading anywhere per se.
It's like somebody said the other time, say we need to add value to the extractive industry you're talking about. So when it comes to oil and gas, for example, we've not been able to add value. So as we speak today, after the refineries that we built many years ago, we're still talking about having a Dangote refinery. These are the things you must add value. So taking raw material out here to out there, and then you come back and you now buy finished petroleum product. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I look at countries like Botswana. Botswana is known for diamonds, which is the value that that was given to them by nature. So, and what did they do? Some things we're even playing with as a country because we don't know the value. Botswana, as we speak, what manufacturing contributes to the GDP of Nigeria is exactly what beef, dairy products, cow contributes to the GDP of Botswana. What have they done? They've actually used monies from diamond, pushed it into their system where dairy products, where beef, they are now one of the biggest exporters of beef into European nations. These are strategies that they have used. So we're here talking about cow moving from Mamfe to Gusau, or moving from there to Suka. How can that cow lactate? It's not possible. It's not possible. A nation, we're spending over $600 million importing dairy product, cheese, milk, and all of that. And then we're playing with what the lifeline that God has given to us. And then we say it has to be some tribe moving around. No, nobody talks about that. Look at what Botswana did. Botswana introduced a full ministry, and their job is beef. A commission, rather, that their job is beef. So what do? They put RFID chip, they introduced RFID chip on every single cow. So there are more cows in Botswana than human beings, right? So that chip, if the cow, that chip is put there for two purposes, for veterinary purpose and for taxation purpose. So each cow that moves into a butchery and you cut off where the chip is, the government already knows the owner of the cow, and they're already taxing the owner of the cow because every cow, and then that also means that every cow that goes into a veterinary doctor, they know that the cow has gone to vet for veterinary purposes. So this is the record that they are giving to EU, and EU is also monitoring these things because these are technology to know that the cow is fit enough to come into European Union. So that's how come they are able to pushing their cow into European Union. And somebody said, Igbo people should go and learn. No. Do you know that cow leg, the whole 4 cow leg is sold for 50 pula? 50 pula is approximately 700,000. No, with the new exchange rate, maybe about 1,200 naira now as we speak. 4 cow leg is about that in Botswana because they've already made the money from the body, so they don't need the legs. So if you cut off the 4,
Here goes our uncle.
yes, our uncle. So if you get the 4 legs, if you buy the 4 legs together, they'll give you the head for free because they don't need it. So this is how much they have developed that sector. And we are busy playing here, whether we should have grazing reserve, no. And sometimes I look at everybody, I think there's something, is anything, are we okay here? This is a big industry that we're playing with.
I guess I'll still ask you again, what is wrong with us?
Sometimes that question will be so difficult to answer. But I always believe that when it comes to public value proposition, leadership takes decision and say, this is what we want done. People will resist at first, but as far as it's for the public good, you insist on it. And as soon as you insist on it, after many years, sometimes after a few years, you begin to see changes. The money that will be entering people's pockets will make them say, oh, you actually did the right thing.
I asked this question because looking at the agri sector, we did something with the present AFDB president, and it worked. He could account for people using mobile phones, and it was seen that that entire project left with him. So lack of consistency, how much is it costing us?
You always lose a lot when you're not when you don't follow through a program. So, like I said again, that brings me back to the public value proposition, thing. So, what we need to do as a people is to have a direction, have an economic development plan. So, no matter who you are, so if you become, for example, if you become a minister today, you must follow through. If we have a 10-year plan, you must stay through to it. So everybody's competing. My 100 days in office, I must have to be seen doing something. Lagos State is working today. You and I know because there was an economic blueprint designed during, fortunately, the present president, when he was governor, he designed a blueprint, and every single person that has ruled Lagos State, you will go back to that blueprint. That's why we see the successes we're seeing in Lagos State. So so that's it's a model. So if we do that, as if we have a national economic development plan and we stick to it, in the next few years, we'll see differences. We'll see a lot of improvement. Not today, somebody comes with one idea, but right, everybody just wants to, be seen doing something, want to outshine. And that's, for me, that's the inferiority complex, but people don't know that's what it is.
We're also seeing that in recent days, we're having a kind of influx of foreign portfolio investors. Between the portfolio investors now and the industrialists, which do we need the most as a country?
You can't compare the two because I mean, portfolio investor just, it's just like okay, when I'm teaching investment promotion in a classroom and I'm trying to give my students a difference between a portfolio investor and an actual investor or a greenfield investor. I say a portfolio investor is like someone who wants to come and date a girl. So his interest is just to date the girl, take the girl out, after that he goes his way. But a greenfield investor is someone who wants to come and marry a girl. So they're two different people. Yes, you like the girl, you both like the girl, but this one wants to stay, and this one just wants to come around. He likes your company, he wants to spend time with you, and after that, he goes out. But this one has decided to stay. So, with that illustration, so you understand which is better. So, it's the one that comes to stay that will help you, that will come with the transfer of technology, that will come with the opportunity for you to create jobs for your people, that will have interest in backward integration and industrializing your location.
Okay, so now as we wind down, because Nigeria really needs to start earning, we need to generate revenue as a country. There's no doubt about that. What will be your short-run propositions for that to happen?
I think we need to change our approach. Although we have not gotten the basics, is actually put the right people in the right position. Get the people that understand the job to do the job. And then number two, it's what I call project-driven investment drive. Project-driven in the sense that I use Jurong Island as an example. Jurong Island is a small island in Singapore. If you do a study of Jurong Island, you see it's a small island that has over a 90 billion dollar turnover, and every single thing there is all around oil and gas. Guess what? It defies what they say that every factory should be close to raw material. The closest source of hydrocarbon to Jurong Island is a 630-kilometer pipeline from Indonesia.
Oh, wow.
So what they did was, like I always tell people, investors are pushed by either by natural resources or markets or strategic assets. And the greatest denominator, which is the fourth one, is efficiency in your system. So what Singapore did, if you notice, they always come either first or second when it comes to ease of doing business. So they created an environment where people, like some of the major IOCs we have here, have refineries there. They have petrochemical plants there, but they don't have it here.
So it's better for them to take from here and
go there and refine. So what did they do? The Singaporean government, what they did was to create so all you need is the way portfolio investors behave. They come with their portfolio. So you come with your portfolio, you can set up a refinery with actual date and time, because everything is already in place. So you just walk in and then business starts. I'm talking about manufacturing. That thing that took Dangote all that long to do.
He's still crying.
If you walked into Jurong Island today, it won't take you that long to get it done, because people that have the technical know-how to work with you are already ready. Everything, government made it easy because they saw things from an investor's prism. An investor has no time to waste. An investor is confident on, so with or without you, they are okay. The investor also knows that you are not the only one that have what they are looking for. China is still looking for investors. America is still looking for investors. As we speak, is it now you want to give me encumbrances that I will not come? Do you know how long it takes for you to get a power license in Nigeria to do power, one of the most important sector in Nigeria? To take you nothing less than 2-3 years to get a license, because you're dealing with almost 8 different agencies of government. So I think that's what the approach should be. Government should decide which particular government should do that. One, if it's to set up a unit under the president or the chief of staff's office that will galvanize, get everything that is a license that everybody needs in different sectors. All you do is, as soon as you have a meeting with me, you can start your business tomorrow. And that's it.
Can that happen?
If you want it to happen, it will happen. Are we not the ones that need the investors? Are we not the ones that need the money? So if you want it to happen, it can happen. Like I said, all you need is to have someone who has the mindset of an investor.
I must sincerely thank you for sharing your thoughts with me and for, of course, this enlightenment.
Thank you so much.
Do you know it takes on average 70-something days to actually start from packing to exporting that container?
We had 110 textile industries in Nigeria. They crashed.
Any government that does not have sufficient output in terms of exports to combat with a global currency, the dollar, is not just visible.
People keep saying that, oh, FX is interest rates is driving us crazy, but you can't have FX if you don't earn FX.
For you to liberalize, for you to make it willing buyer and willing seller, you must be able to have some buffers.
Manna doesn't fall from heaven. We can't expect external influences to do the magic for us.
Simplified is next, and from there we head to the market. And of course, we birth here. And don't forget, for details of this market and more, you can log on to our sister website. It is www.marketnigertv. We have all the information there available for you at your fingertips. The program returns same time next week, but don't forget as well to subscribe if you have not. We value your feedback, so keep your questions, comments, and suggestions coming. And of course, follow us on our various social media platforms. My name is Leah Katung-Babatunde, signing out from this end, and I say God bless Nigeria.